Jaguar Chapter 24. I had no problem retrieving the collar. It was hanging right where Raoul said it would be, alongside Beth's drying skin and Raoul's cotton bag. I hoped Wild Bill and Tall would fare better than their mother had in the new preserve. It was still dark when we got to the Jaguar pit, so we rested until daylight. The pit was about 10 feet square. There were sharpened branches embedded in the bottom. I lowered myself down with a rope and took the branches out, along with the other sticks and leaves that had fallen in when Beth fell through. When I climbed back out, Raoul wanted to know how much Tyler weighed and how much gear he was carrying. I gave him my best guess. We went to work. Raoul kept undoing everything we did. Finally, Silver and I backed off and let Raoul do it by himself. He worked quickly, but it was still taking longer than Silver wanted. Raoul laid heavier sticks around the edges of the pit and light sticks in the middle. I guessed this was one to make sure that the animal, or in this case, the maniac, would be in the middle when the top collapsed. Raoul made a few final touches to the ground around the pit and announced that it was ready. We hid ourselves 50 feet away. About 20 minutes later, Tyler showed up. He had the earphones on and the receiver strapped to his belt. He held the antenna above his head and turned back and forth very slowly, trying to locate where the signal was coming from. The collar was hanging in the tree in back of the pit. At this range, he wouldn't be able to locate where the signal was coming from. All he would know was that it was very close. Without hesitating, Tyler stepped onto the top of the pit. I expected it to collapse, but it didn't. He continued walking, and still it didn't cave in. Raoul made an odd sound. Tyler froze when he heard it. Then the ground gave way, and he disappeared. We stayed in our hiding spot. Silver waited for the dust to settle before saying anything. "Tyler," he shouted. "I should have known," Tyler shouted back. "I'm going to toss you a rope," Silver continued. "I want you to climb out very slowly. When you get out of the pit, I want you to keep both your hands on the rope and just follow it up till I tell you to stop. If you take one hand off the rope, I'll blow you back into the pit. Understand?" "Yes, sir," Tyler said. Silver threw the rope into the pit. The other end was tied to a tree in the back of where we were taking cover. Nice and easy. "I'm coming out." Tyler's head appeared above the edge. "Just follow the rope," Silver said. When Tyler was well away from the pit, Silver told him to stop. He said something to Raoul in Portuguese. Raoul reached into his bag and pulled out some rope. "One hand at a time, Tyler. You know the routine." Tyler put one of his hands behind his back. Raoul put a loop around it and waited for Tyler's other hand. The second hand shot back like a bolt of lightning and grabbed Raoul before any of us knew what was happening. There wasn't time for Silver to get a shot off before Raoul and Tyler were tangled up on the ground. Silver fired into the air, and Scarlet flew off screaming as if the shot had been meant for her. "The next one's in your head, Tyler," Silver shouted. Tyler let go of Raoul. "Let's try this again," Silver said calmly. "Get on your belly, Tyler, and put both of your hands behind your back." Tyler rolled over and put his hand behind his back. Raoul tied him up without any problems this time. When he was finished, Silver told Tyler to get to his feet. During the tussle, a few items from Raoul's bag had spilled out onto the ground. Raoul gathered them up and put them back into his bag. "Well, Colonel," Tyler said, "it looks like you found the mother lode." "There's nothing here," Silver said. Tyler laughed. "With all due respect, sir, you're a damn liar." "Have it your way, Tyler. Let's go." Raoul led the way, with Tyler just behind him. Silver and I followed. Tyler didn't say one word during the entire trip back to camp, nor did Silver. When we got there, I called out to Flana, but she didn't answer. I looked in the tent. It was empty. The shotgun was still leaning outside the entrance. She probably took Doc and found some place to hide, I said, hoping she hadn't gone looking for me. I see she didn't take the shotgun either, Silver said. She's going to have to get over that one of these days, or she's going to get hurt. He said something to Raoul, and he ran off. He'll find her. I looked over to the other side of camp and saw Fred's body. Silver followed my gaze and shook his head. First, we'll secure our prisoner, he said. Then I'll bury his friend. Then we'll start packing and get... Tyler threw his arm around my neck and lifted me off the ground. In his free hand, he held a small pocket knife just below my eye. It was the same knife I had given to Raoul. It must have fallen out of Raoul's bag during the scuffle, and Tyler picked it up. Silver looked as shocked as I felt. Let him go, Tyler. No, sir, and you're not going to shoot me because you'll kill the boy too. Now, there was a time when that might not have bothered you very much, but I suspect you've gone a little soft over the years. Silver just stared at him. Colonel, if you don't put the shotgun down, I snap his neck like a twig. You know I can do it, because you taught me how. I saw the frustration in Silver's eyes. He lowered the shotgun to the ground. Now step away from it, Colonel. Silver took a few steps backwards. Tyler moved forward without releasing his grip on my neck. I couldn't breathe. In one motion, he flung me to the side and scooped up the shotgun off the ground, bringing it level with Silver's chest. I glanced at the shotgun by the tent. Don't even think about it, son, Tyler said. Now just scoot on over there next to the Colonel. I got up and walked over to Silver. I guess this is it, Colonel. Silver looked at me. I'm sorry, Jake. I heard a sharp thwack, and Tyler dropped the shotgun, staggered, and then fell over backwards with an arrow sticking out of its chest. Flana stepped out from behind a tree on the far side of camp with another arrow already strung in her compound bow. Unbelievable, Silver said. Flana walked over to us. Are you okay, Jake? I managed to say that I was fine. How did you... I heard the shotgun go off, and a few moments later Scarlet came screaming into camp. I figured Silver wouldn't be far behind, so I hid behind the tree. With a compound bow? Silver asked. I didn't know whose side you were on, she said. Yours, he said. He walked over to Tyler and picked up the shotgun. Is he dead? Flana asked. Silver felt for a pulse. I'm afraid so. Flana dropped the bow and started to cry. Silver handed the shotgun to me and walked over to her and held her until she recovered. How's Doc? I asked. I think he'll be fine if we can keep him horizontal for a few days, Flana said. I managed to get him up into the canopy and put him onto one of the platforms so he'd be safe if Tyler came back. When I left, he was yelling at me to give him a rope and let him down. So I guess he's feeling a lot better. She went on to explain that Doc had regained consciousness the night before. He told her about his dream about Beth being killed in the pit. I knew Tyler was headed right for you. I was just about ready to leave and see if I could find you when I heard the shotgun. Silver looked at her. I suppose now I'm indebted to you for life or something, he said. Flana smiled. You better believe it. There are worse fates, young lady. As we walked over to the tree where Doc was held prisoner, We're all fine, I yelled up to him. Glad to hear it, he yelled back. Get me a rope and I'll come down. I looked at Flana. She shook her head. Sorry, Doc. We're kind of busy down here. You just take it easy and we'll get you down as soon as we can. I promise I'll take it easy. Just get me down from here. Jake? Jake? Are you there? Flana? We walked back to camp. We buried Fred Stoats and Tyler in the same grave. Tyler would not have been very happy about this, but in my opinion they deserved to spend eternity with each other. It took us the rest of the day and a half, the night, to pack our gear and to get it out to the Tito. By the next morning we were ready to leave. Flana went up to retrieve Doc and the remaining canopy platform. I went down to the lake and found Silver on the shore, standing in front of a huge pile of maps and old journals. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Destroying the trail." He lit a match and dropped it into the pile. We watched the flames for a moment, then reached into his pocket and pulled out the golden Jaguar. "I believe this is yours." I reached into my own pocket and gave him the second golden Jaguar. "Another gift?" he asked. I shook my head and told him about the ruins beneath the lake. "Why don't you keep the Jaguars?" I said. "You spent a long time looking for them." Silver looked at the figurines. "If I keep them, people will wonder where I found them, and maybe they'll come looking. I don't want that to happen." He smiled and threw them into the center of the lake. "That's where they belong," he said. I climbed up to the rock next to the waterfall for the last time. Below me, Silver stared at the burning pile. He looked happy and relaxed, as if he were at peace with himself and the world. It reminded me of the snapshot of him and Tito. He may not have found his son, but it looked as if he had recaptured the same contentment, at least for the moment. Flana brought Doc down to the beach. Other than him being weak from his illness and irritated at being kept prisoner in a tree for 2 days, he was in good shape. Raoul took them out to the boat in the Zodiac, then came back and picked up Silver and me. Silver climbed up to the wheelhouse and started the engine. We heard a loud scream, and Scarlet came soaring from the rainforest. Shore leave was over.